You're watching the Best Practices Show with Curtis Marshall and Kirk Barrett.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the Best Practices Show, where we take a look at the best business practices from the best dental practices all over the world. And if you're a dentist and you care about your team, you're probably doing a morning huddle, and one of those days comes along every once in a while and you say, I hate my morning huddles. Well, today we're going to show you how to reverse that and love them and make them work with 4 simple steps. You have to do them with my good friend Curtis Marshall from Dental Intel. You do not want to miss this, because he's going to blow your mind with what we're learning now about data and how it can change your day in the morning huddle. Now, couple show notes. We are shooting this live like we always do on Facebook. So if you're watching this and you have questions during the show, add them to the feed and I'll dish them right to our man Curtis, and he'll give us the answer while we have them on live. Or if you're watching them later on, continue to add questions to the feed, because we want you to get the most out of this. And I get feedback from the team members all the time. Team members don't often get exposed to the best education at times. Share these with your team members and give them the opportunity to see all the great, cool new things that are going on in dentistry. It'll help everybody. So keep sending us suggestions for shows. Thank you guys. We're up over 39,000 followers. Over 150,000 of you have visited us on iTunes. And all I can say is thank you. 199 shows. Curtis, you're one of the main staples on our show, a regular guest. You're like our data expert, engineer, genius, teacher, all that kind of stuff. I know who you are, but if people are watching this and they've never heard of Curtis Marshall and Dental Intel, give us a little background on who you are and what Dental Intel is.
Well, Kirk, thanks. I can't believe this is 199 episodes. That is insane. Congratulations, and really thanks to, like you mentioned, thanks to everybody listening to these wonderful shows that you're putting on. They're amazing.
Thanks, buddy.
It's really interesting. Whenever people say, who are you, right? You automatically want to say, well, this is what I do. I'm a dentist, or I work at Dental Intel, or da-da. But really, Kirk, my name's Curtis Marshall. I live in Pleasant Grove, Utah. I've got 3 beautiful girls. I'm married, and life can't be more lovely. Past the bubbly. That's who I am. I love college football. The things that I do during the day is that I help increase patient care by providing a software that tells the offices where to increase and where to improve, where they've done good, where they've done excellent at, so that they can ultimately increase patient care and dollars in the profits within the office. But that's ultimately who I am.
Yeah, and data is a big game now. I mean, you can't see anything that doesn't include data. Heck, even when you're watching the World Series now or the playoffs, everything is about data. Even Little League Baseball is run by data. Data is so critically important. It's like the new hot, exciting thing in business and in life and in sports. And one of the things that we've learned from you guys is with data, it's not emotional. It tells the whole story. I've also heard you say this many times. If you don't have any data, we're just having a conversation. So this is an important tool for you to help your team long-term so that everybody's on the same page. We can get the information right. It shows us what's happening, what can be improved, and set some goals. And it's crazy cool what the insight can provide. Now, talk about the morning huddle. Now, you guys have an incredible tool. You're going to show it to us in a second, but let's talk about the why of the morning huddle before we get into the how.
So, Kirk, I used to work in a dental office, right? And in our dental office, we realized that we wanted to hit our goals. We wanted to hit our production goals, so we did a morning huddle. We said, what do we want to know in a morning huddle? They're telling us we need to do one. What do we want to do? Well, let's look at production. Let's look at new patients. Let's look at our hygiene dollars. Let's look at our doctor's dollars, make sure that we're scheduled to like we're going over all these things. And the first few times is kind of exciting, right?
Right.
But we're ultimately doing it so that we can hit our goals. There's no real other reason. We're not doing it for fun. We're not doing it, because I'm very passionate about a morning huddle. I'm very passionate about this group and waking up early, clocking in early, and spending extra time and talking about the numbers. That's not the reason why we're doing a morning huddle is to hit our goals. Is there any other reason that you think of to do a morning huddle?
Well, I think one of the morning huddles is not only to meet your goals, but like to get everything started so that you can plan a good day. I always love the whole idea. I don't know who said this, but never start a day before it's complete, either on paper or on a computer, whatever. So at least you can schedule appropriately. Also, too, you're going to have holes in your schedules, and one of the best places to fill the holes is already on the schedule. So this is a great way where we can just get, and let's just say this, there are times you just got to get the garbage out from last night. Like you were watching the Grammys or whatever, or watching The Voice last night. You can just kind of get that over with now so that we're not doing this while patients are coming in. Let's get on the same page so we can hit the ground running and we know what's happening before it happens. So I agree with you. Goals and just connection would be my two things.
So once we start doing all this, hey, this is why we're doing this, well, then all of a sudden there becomes a real pain inside most people's stomachs and hearts. They start to hate morning huddles. They start to hate them. I started to hate them. Why? The reason why we're hating morning huddles is because we go in, we walk in, we write in our numbers, and we notice everybody's going like this. Or you ask a question, they're not doing something on it. So you're just going through the numbers real quick because all it is numbers. It's just 5 plus 5. It's 10 plus 10. It's whatever the numbers are, but there's no meaning to it, right? It's not fun.
Right.
It's not actionable. We're not able to increase anything. That's the big reason why I saw that I started to not like it. So we started to do games, like those minute to win it games, right? Where you have to get 2 team members and you try to do something quick. And all we were doing was trying to make it fun and not really productive. So we were trying to do our morning huddle because everybody started to hate it. We then started to start fun things instead of productive things. But I think we can do both. Any other reasons why you think we hate morning huddles?
That's a pretty good one for the most part. You got to make it fun, got to make it productive, and you've got a really simple formula. There's 4 steps that you guys teach. Now, I'm going to start with this. I asked you this question, how long should a huddle be? Because I do get that question a lot. Give us your answer on that.
Oh, at least 45 minutes, right?
Don't freak everyone out. That is not true. That's not what you said. What'd you say?
10 to 15 minutes.
Right.
If you're going over 15 minutes, it's too long. If you're going you can go under 10. You can be 5 minutes, but a good, solid, productive meeting is 10 to 15 minutes. In and out.
Awesome. Sounds good. And it's usually doctor and the entire team. And you're going to take us back there. There's 4 components. Walk us through each one of these components to make these huddles fun and productive again.
Good. So, Kirk, one thing that we've always noticed is when looking at data, the first thing that you need to know is where you're starting from, right? Whenever I buy a plane ticket, the very first thing that it asks me is, where am I starting from? Where's my starting destination? So the very first thing to talk about in Morning Huddle is yesterday, right? Where are we? That's number 1, is look at yesterday. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now, how do you look at yesterday? How do you guys look at yesterday, and what are some of the important things to look at when you evaluate yesterday?
Okay, and I'm probably going to offend some people here. I'm probably going to get some hate mail on this one. But typically, on what I'm going to show you here in a minute, we do show production, collections, and new patients.
Per day?
I don't think we for yesterday. But I don't think it should even be on there. The only reason why we have it on there is because doctors want it. I don't want to be looking at what you produced yesterday, what you collected yesterday, how many new patients you had, because today I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, now explain why, because I know where you're going with this, but explain why.
So, and I don't have it. If I produced $10,000 yesterday, it doesn't tell me why I did or did not hit goal. It just says $10,000. That's boring. I can't do anything about it. In fact, it might make me feel self-conscious. It may it may hurt me, right? Or maybe it's a high goal, like our goal's 10,000 and we did $30,000. Oh, everybody gets so happy. They start patting each other on the back. They start getting really excited. But why? How did you hit 30,000? The 30,000 is not hitting the way over your goal is not the answer. The answer is, how did you do this? If you know how, then you can replicate it over and over and over again, rather than just saying, some days I'm going to cheer, some days I'm going to cuss at you, and so we're going to hate morning huddle, and we don't want to hate morning huddle.
Well, anybody that's 30,000 in a day, I want to know how they did that too. So, but I get your point. I get your point on this.
Well, you want to know, but you don't just celebrate, right?
Yeah. Now, I did get a question from our good friend Deepak. He asked a really good question.
Deepak.
Who should do most of the talking in a huddle? Do you have an opinion on this?
That's a good question. This is something that is really based on the office, but ultimately, the best time to really get people engaged is to let everybody. Why should it be one person? Everybody should should rotate. Like, for example, we say prayers at dinner time, right? All the kids say one. I mean, it's not just always me or my wife. It's always getting mixed up, which means that they become better at it and they start to understand it. Same thing in your dental practice. If you want your team members to really understand morning huddle, give them all a chance. Let each of them rotate it. That would be that's not a numbers thing. That's more of a Curtis Marshall preference. But.
Yeah, and the cool part is once you have a template that you find works for you, everyone can follow the template. And they don't usually have to do all the talking. They just keep the agenda moving and kind of be the leader for that particular day. I totally agree with you. So take us into the yesterday thing. So again, I want to evaluate yesterday. Specifically, how am I going to do that in evaluating yesterday?
So should I show this now? Well, actually, there's two main areas.
Okay.
Two main areas you really want to focus on for yesterday. Number one is dollars presented, dollars accepted. That's the first one.
Okay.
The second one is how many patients left without an appointment.
Right, and that's doctor and hygiene. You want to know that.
Yes. So if they left hygiene without a hygiene appointment, but they left with a doctor appointment, then that's not focused on in that number I gave you. Right? You can focus on hygiene in and out, but I'm just saying the two most important ones, making sure that what dollars did you present that did not get accepted? I said accepted, I meant did not get accepted, and how many patients left the office with 0 future appointments? 0.
Right, because that's a big deal. That's what we call a leading indicator. It shows you how healthy the practice is going to be in the future. And in Dental Intel, you guys use the morning huddle function, which I hear everybody talking about now. So I'm dying to see it. Can you just give us a little snapshot of it? Can you share your screen?
It's all the rage. But one nice thing about this, Kirk, is that it's online. You can access it on any computer. You can access it upstairs in your office, downstairs.
On your phone.
And there's an app that you can access it on your phone? Absolutely. So anywhere you want to be accessing this, right? So I'm going to show you that to you real quick here. Share screen in just a second. Boom. Okay, on this one, I do not have the goal for the number that I wanted to show here, but that's okay. Yesterday in this practice, look what they got up here. So we show yesterday right here.
Right.
Production. What can I do today to increase my production yesterday?
Nothing.
Nothing. What about my net production? Nothing. Collections. I can't do anything to get more new patients yesterday. Today, I can. I see that there's 19% of the dollars I presented, $5,000 got accepted. Today, I can reach out to my $22,000 of unscheduled treatment and get back on the calendar. That's something I can improve. That happened yesterday. I did not get it done, but I can do something about that unscheduled today.
Yeah, and your team members can click on there and find out exactly who those patients are with all the information that's attached. Okay.
All the not just not only the patient information, but the exact procedures, and it's real quick. Rather than being lagging, it's really quick now. For HIPAA information, I'm not going to click on it, but that's showing us that you're at 19%. So here's my question. You present $30,000. What percentage of those dollars should be accepted? Kirk, what do you think?
Well, I know you're going to tell me the averages are pretty low, but I would say, you're going to lead me. I know you are. I would say, a good 50% of them would be a reasonable goal. As you get better, maybe a little bit higher, but I know it's typically really low in dentistry. Am I on the right track here?
You're totally on the right track. And I love that you said 50. But that's what you said, I feel like, right? In this office, if they're consistently 19%, we just want them to increase to over 20%, 25%.
Just a little bit better.
Treatment acceptance percentage, even though it's low, you need to know where you're at. This number is based off of how many new dollars were presented, how many of those dollars were scheduled or completed. That's
right.
Accepted.
No. Listen, everyone thinks they're 100% though.
Well, yeah, we could go into that. We've gone into that before, but it's just not the case. In fact, what we're seeing is that it's low 20s. Nationwide, it's low 20%.
Right. Now,
right in that range.
I want to piggyback on this because I know we beat this horse to death all the time, but there's a difference between leading and lagging indicators. And this is one of those things that gets us so excited, Curtis, as we use this platform, is when you're talking about the leading indicators, you can actually influence what's happening here currently and in the future. Lagging indicators are what you alluded to before, which is how much are the totals for the month, which is the results of all the hard work and the leading indicators. So what you're really looking at here are going to be leading indicators for today, right?
Correct. Yep, this is something I can do today. I can get these dollars back on the schedule today.
Awesome.
That's something I can do. In addition, if I'm focusing on this now, I can say, hey, for today, it's not necessarily that I'm going to produce or do something, but it's out of any dollar I present, out of every $10 I present, how many dollars do we want to get accepted? We can focus on that today. Out of every 10 new dollars that we present, do we want to get $5 to accept? Do we want to get $3 to accept? Or do we want $9? Whatever it is in your office, you first need to know where you're at. That's the very first step, is knowing where you're at.
Absolutely. Now, how do we use, that's the doctor side. Take us to the hygiene side of things.
So these are all the dentist numbers right here. These are all the hygiene numbers. And it shows us that 11 patients came in for hygiene, 10 reappointed, 1 did not. That's not the second number I talked about. The second number was this guy right here.
Okay.
Patients not rescheduled. There were 2 existing patients that left. Wait a second. 2 new patients, Kirk, left the office with 0 future appointments. How many new patients did we have yesterday?
We had 3.
This is a much more important number to know. How many of my new patients left without an appointment? Who cares that I had 3? I had 2 that left without an appointment.
Right. Now let's speak to the essence of the problem. A lot of times patients come in as a new patient and we're so focused on their restorative needs that the patient leaves the practice and they're not tethered to the practice with a hygiene appointment. That's what you're talking about, right?
That's absolutely a big part of it. So a new patient comes in and we present them a big old plan of $5,000 and they leave and never come back, yet we never even schedule them for hygiene.
Right.
Right? That's just one of many problems that could be happening. But if we're looking at patients that left the office without an appointment, patients not rescheduled, all of a sudden you are at a much better advantage. You know exactly what to do. Number one, I want to make sure today nobody leaves without an appointment. But number 2, I can now reach out to these 4 patients. And all you have to do is click right here and you can see who all 4 of them are.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So you're doing this as a team every single morning, looking at the computer. You want to start with yesterday and go through each one of these components.
Yeah, and in your office, you're going to know what to go over quickly, right? So once again, it's 10 to 15 minutes. I'm not going to dive deep into every one of these. But in my office, like for example, I'm just going to celebrate this. Great job. We are now over 90% of our hygiene appointments got reappointed. My hygienist hit her goal. Great work. Doctor, we hit our goal. Great work.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that we want to do, Sally, is we do want to update, go get those unscheduled treatment. Will you follow up with those patients and let me know who you schedule? Yes, I will. We have 4 patients that are not rescheduled. Who's going to reach out to them today? Great. Go reach out to him today and let us know who you get scheduled back on the phone. That's what, 90 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And that's yesterday. We're done. There's no reason to talk anymore about yesterday unless there's a question or a problem.
Mm-hmm. Because let's face it, if you're retaining these patients time over time, not only are you building a bigger patient base, but you also have the option to be a little bit more selective in the future, and you're building a sellable asset as a dentist long term. And everybody's heard the metrics on this. It's always more expensive to attract a new patient than it is to keep one. And let's just face it, I heard you guys say this, new patients sometimes are the worst.
They're the worst.
We want new patients, but let's face it, man, if you're getting all these people come to you and all of them are, half of them are leaving and all your energy is in finding new people, that's a treadmill that's just hard to get off of.
Yep, totally concur. For that, really yesterday, we typically focus on these ones, and this is exactly what I would focus on when I was into practice, but it's boring. We start to hate it because it doesn't tell us how or what we did well.
Right.
These numbers down here are numbers that tell us exactly where we're going. And you can dive into each of them more, but the 2 biggest ones are patients not rescheduled yesterday and the percentage of dollars that we presented, what percentage got accepted.
Outstanding. So that would be the first easy step, is just cover what happened yesterday. And now I'm guessing we're going to go on to the next little dot you got there, which is today.
Yeah, notice that if you have your pen and paper, you could probably just look at the 4 steps and hang up now.
You got the easy buttons here. This is great.
Okay, so we're going to select today. Today's Tuesday, October 23rd, right? Mm-hmm. Dr. Cam, he's seeing 17 patients today. Dr. Cam, out of those patients that he's seeing, he's scheduled, he's below goal. Kirk, you don't know Dr. Cam from Steve Mortensen, my best friend, right? You don't know. It's Cam and Steve. You don't know them at all.
Right.
But Dr. Cam, do you think he could hit his goal today without seeing any additional new patients or any additional patients?
Absolutely. Well, it goes back to what you said before, Curtis. You just got to know the number. Most people just go to work and they work hard without any idea where they're at. I think that's the biggest piece. Is that what you're talking about? Of course he could. He could easily do that.
He could, but in this exact scenario, his goal is $5,425. He's below goal, under 50% of goal.
Mm-hmm.
With you looking at this line, is there any way that he could get $3,000 extra, $2,800?
On that little line all the way to the right there?
Yeah, what does that say?
$48,651 unscheduled treatment.
That's a lot. Of the 17 patients that are coming in today, there's $48,000 of unscheduled treatment.
Now, the first thing I can't help but notice is 17 patients per day. That's a lot. So that's a good heavy base. And of those 17, you're talking $48,000 worth of dentistry has not been accepted or scheduled of those 17. That's what you're saying.
Correct. So if we want to make this super simple and easy, we want to look at today, out of the patients who are coming in today, and I blurred this out, we have this first patient right here that has $6,458.
Mm-hmm.
Unscheduled treatment. Today we're doing this, whatever that code is, right? By clicking on it just right here, it takes us all the way over and shows us exactly what it needs to be done. What do we have scheduled in the treatment planner? We've got something scheduled. What is that?
My kids, I need to put on my glasses here.
It's okay. What is this right here?
Yeah, you got periodontal scaling and root planing.
It's scheduled, right? It's scheduled for, we even know the date right here. But today, why don't we try to get him getting one of these crowns done? Or maybe we're waiting for the cleaning to be done, which means that we can at least do the 2 surface filling. If we're not going to do the crowns till after perio, we can at least do the filling. That's $191 that we can get done today.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Oh, and it just so happens is that person's birthday coming up. It tells us everything about this patient. This patient right here, you don't know who they are. They have $1,900 of unscheduled treatment. What else do you know about them?
They've got one unscheduled family member, and their AR balance is
$16.
Yeah.
This patient right here has one unscheduled family member, and they're past due for hygiene. We want to know really quickly what to do. So for today, we want to make sure the doctor's hitting their goal with unscheduled treatment, as well as get family members scheduled and make sure our patients are rescheduled for hygiene.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
Kirk, can I give you a weird, crazy number?
I love weird, crazy numbers.
Okay, if we're to make 100 phone calls, how many patients are going to pick up the phone?
Ooh, I don't know. I would say less than 10%, maybe.
It's right around 10%. It's actually just above 10%. So you're being, but it depends on the day in the office, right? But it's just above 10%. So we're only, if I called 100 patients, we're talking to about 10. Okay?
Correct.
If I were to see 100 patients today, if 100 patients came into my office, what percentage of those patients can I talk to? Trick question.
I don't know. Trick question.
100%.
Well, yeah, of course. That just sounds like a lot of patients. I don't know. Like, Curtis, you give me these questions, and my first thought is on the logic side. I'm like, 100 patients. I don't think I could talk to. I can't even talk to 10 in a day. So my answer would be 10, but most people could talk to 100. Is that where we're headed here?
You can talk. You talk to 100% of the people that are right in front of you. Is what I'm saying.
Agreed.
Right?
All right. Ask me easier questions then. No, I'm with you though. I'm totally with you because the ones that are there are much easier to connect with than the ones that are on the phone.
This patient right here is going to come in. I can talk to them about their unscheduled family member, and I can schedule them for hygiene. Why would I only focus on their restorative appointment and not focus on their hygiene? Not getting so many patients just come in for their appointment, and we don't look to see what else that patient needs or that family needs.
Right.
It's not just given to you.
In all fairness, let's just talk about the generation or how fast this is improving by the week. I mean, you guys created a platform where now it's all hand delivered to you. This was really hard to do prior to this. Even, I was around before computers in dentistry, and that was even harder. And now, as computers are getting better, and now as analytic platforms, again, you can have this on your phone. This information is hand delivered to you every single morning. You know exactly where to go. You don't have to dig. It's brought right to you. You know exactly what the patient's names are and their phone numbers and where to go. It's actionable, leading data.
Seriously, it helps to make the front desk team better, but more importantly, we're helping this guy's family member. We're helping this guy's mouth get healthier because we're able to schedule those $1,900.
Right.
This patient right here, we're making it so that they get their cleanings done. Oh, Kevin Barnett, 15 minutes. So that's the biggest thing to be talking about there, Kirk.
Cool. So that's today. Now take us to tomorrow, which will be the next button.
Tomorrow's real quick. Really, the biggest thing we want to do is make sure everybody's scheduled to goal. We can see really quickly that 2 of our providers are not scheduled to goal. This one doesn't even have something's going on with her. She probably doesn't, she's taking the day off or something. But 2 of our providers are not scheduled to goal. I can do one of 2 things to help this doctor get scheduled to goal. I can either have him see more people or get some of these dollars to be accepted today.
Very cool.
Very simple.
Very simple. And then once we're done with that, you said it's got a finish button right there?
Yeah, and before I clicked it, I'm sorry I didn't mention this, Kirk, but one thing about focusing on goal for tomorrow, when it is today, now we don't have to focus on the goal anymore. We can only focus on taking care of the patient, not trying to fill the doctor's schedule, if we're always scheduled to goal for tomorrow. So if we're always looking ahead and just saying, hey, making sure tomorrow's scheduled to goal, when tomorrow comes to today, it makes it a lot easier. That's the reason to look at tomorrow.
Very cool.
Finished. You can do whatever you want. You can do 1 minute to win it games. You can do the free fall test, do fun things, whatever you want. We provide you every day with a new what's called Motivational Minute. It's a 1 minute long little video that's a lot of fun. We won't play it necessarily today, but they're always a lot of fun. Make you laugh, make you cry, get you going for your day.
Love it. It's great to add a little of that, just to set the tone for the day, get everybody thinking, create a little energy.
Yep.
So that's stuff.
With this data now, people want to see where they can improve the schedule. They want to see what patients can be improved on, rather than it being boring and lame and dumb and hate it. It's now engaging. It's like saying, oh, that's what I need to do today. Not only are we taking better care of our patients, but there's more dollars in everyone's pockets.
Yeah, and you know how this works. I mean, sometimes you just got to mix it up just to mix it up and change the flavor of what's happening around the table. And this is a great way, Curtis, just with your 4 steps, just to add a little energy, maybe look at it a little different, and help you not hate your morning huddle. So, buddy, I know you got to run here in just a few minutes. You guys are so gracious to offer a free snapshot of the Dental Intel platform, which we absolutely love. Now, it's an app. It plugs right on your computer, and it harvests this information in a really easy way for you to be able to read. Give them an idea what happens with a snapshot. How does that work?
Yeah, so it takes under 5 minutes. You get an email, and there's a 3-step thing that you do. You just follow the 3 steps, and we can show your data. And one of the biggest numbers, especially that I would look at in your office, what we can show you is yesterday, what your dollars you presented and what got accepted, as well as how many patients left yesterday in your office. Well, we'll do that, and I'll show you those 2 numbers so that you at least know a baseline of where you're at today.
Awesome, buddy. Well, I am always grateful, Curtis, for all the insight, data, and education you give us around this. Now, if you're listening, guys, thank you so much for listening. You can find the snapshot at actdental.com/snapshot. You get to try it for 30 days for free if you want to check it out, and I highly encourage you to do it. We love it. It just makes things so much easier. So, Curtis, thank you, my friend, for being on. Appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching the Best Practices show. If you enjoyed today, which I hope you did, do us a big favor and just hit the share button. Share with your friends. Keep sending us suggestions for things that you want to see from Curtis and Dental Intel alike and other guests. We'll do our best to line them all up. And I guess until we see you next time, keep watching the Best Practices show. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.